Hey everybody, Tommy Long here again. I got asked a question earlier about taking the drive off the end of a Somfy motor or the clutch if you're using an AutoStop clutch on an Altus motor. And they asked if there was a video. I think I did one time, but I think it was mixed in with some other stuff. So I wanted to do a real quick video to show you how to take off a drive off the end of a Somfy 500 series motor. Does not matter if it's a Maestria, if it's an Altus, any of those motors have these springs on the end of the motor that holds the drive on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one with a drive on it, and then I will show you the clutch the same way. Hold on one second, let me flip the camera around real quick. Okay, so on this particular motor, this is a Maestria, but on the inside of this motor, you will see there is some springs. You see those two little black springs there? I'll show a better picture once they're off. But what you're going to do is, this is going to be a little hard to do with one hand. You push those in, lift this side of the drive up. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can do this. Lift this side of the drive up, and the other side, it was a little loose, I guess. I didn't have it all the way locked down. But this just slides off now. Now looking at this, you see that spring there? There's one there, and there is one on the other side as well. That is what holds the drive on the end of the motor. Now this is for all exterior and interior motors. Does not matter if it's a 504, 506, which are the interior, the Sony's 500 series, it does not matter. But this drive literally just clips on those two areas. Now if you have a AutoStop clutch, which is this. Now this has an old drive that was fit a 6-inch roller tube, which we don't use anymore. But those areas in between there is where those clip on as well. You can see the clip is right there. So when you lock this down, it does the same thing. It clips down on there. And then to get it off, you just need to do the same thing. You push the pins in here, just lift it up slightly on this side, then push the pins on the other side, do the same thing, and then as you're holding it, you can just pull it right off. Hopefully that makes a little more sense. Now the other thing to always watch for, and I'm going to lay this down on the table, but this is considered a crown. This crown has a notch or a piece that sticks up on it. This has to be placed in every manufacturer's tube correctly. Does not matter whose it is. Every tube has a slot. That slot right there. If you do not put it in there, what happens is that crown flops around and it does not count correctly. So when you're setting limits, this is what holds still, and everything moves based on this and the drive on the end of the motor. That's how they count. So this spins and counts revolutions of the tube moving by this. So there's magnets in there. So if this is not correctly seated in this tube, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it on, because it at any time this drive spins around freely, because you can put it anywhere. It's the drive on the end that has to be in the tube correctly. Now what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to snap this back on. It's back on there now. This has to fit in the tube correctly, and there's a correct way that this slides in. See, it went right in there. There's a flat spot here which fits in here, and see there's that notch. But as you slide this, see if I can do this with just one hand. Once you get this closer and you're putting the tube back together, what you have to do is align up that slot with that drive. And then as you go to slide it in, what you'll do is you'll see, and this is every manufacturer has a motor that has to have a crown and drive, because that's what makes the motor move. Every manufacturer has that. It does not just happen to be Somfy. But as you can see, that fits in there. So it keeps that, it keeps that in the right position. But if you miss it and you go in next to it, that drive, I'm trying to do this on Zoom, that drive is going to move around and it won't seat correctly, which means it won't count. So if you're ever changing a motor out on one of these exterior motorized shades, patio shades, whatever the terminology is these days, everybody's calling them, you have to make sure that the way you take it out is the way you put it back in. So also on most motors, you can, I shouldn't say most, there's only a few of them that you can change the cords out. Be very careful when you're taking these out, because this is your weakest link on any motor, is going to be the plug that goes in there, because there's like a little transistor, resistor, or something that's in there. So if there's ever a lightning strike or something like that somewhere close by, or a bad storm that's flashed the power and all of a sudden this doesn't work and you've checked everything, then I would check the cord. Make sure you have power coming in, but also changing the cord out sometimes can save you from having to replace a motor. And you can buy the motor cords from any manufacturers, Universal Screens. There's a lot of the exterior shade manufacturers that do carry Somfy motors, but you can find these cords on the internet if you have to. eBay, back in the day, I used to buy cords all the time from if I needed. Sometimes if you have a 24-foot cord and don't need it and you change it out to a 10-foot, then save the 24-foot, because you can always reuse that. Same thing, vice versa. If you have a 10 and you need a 24 and you change it out, you can always reuse that, because there's 2 screws inside of there that slides that plug out. That is the only part on the motor way down inside of there that is not waterproof also. Hopefully that helps everybody. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thanks and have a great day.